Did you start the Lions Den?
I did.
Wow.
Yes.
Take us to that.
Yeah, it's. I remember when I was going over to Japan, they hadn't started it here. The bare-knuckle, no rules. It hadn't started. So when I went over and actually saw this videotape of what these guys were doing, because one of my students had actually showed it to me and said, hey, look what these guys are doing over there. And I was looking at it, I was going, wow. I mean, they're literally punching like open hand strikes, and then they're kicking and kneeing. And then when they went to the ground, they were like doing all these like leg locks and arm bars. And I was like, what is that? I mean, I never saw anything like that before. You either were a striker or you were a wrestler. And at that time, I was more of a wrestler. And so I saw that. I said, man, I want to do that. So I got with a friend of mine who was doing pro wrestling. His name was Dean Malenko. Great shooter, great wrestler. So he introduced me to his dad, which had Sammy Saranaka, who was the promoter for Japan in Florida. And so I flew out there to do a tryout. And my tryout consisted of fighting 4 different guys in the gym. They weren't from Japan. They were American guys that were already going over there. And where I came from group home in the streets and kind of grew up rough. And so for me, fighting was a natural thing for me. So when I went into the gym, I basically did dirty boxing and wrestled them to the ground and just beat the snot out of these guys who were supposedly these trained guys from Japan. I was like, I felt pretty good. Like, wow, okay. Well, then Sammy calls me up and says, hey, how'd you like to come to Japan and visit our facilities and stuff like that? I said, yeah, sounds good. So I go down there, and I remember when I walked into the dojo, right after I got off the plane, they picked me up. It was a 12-hour flight. They picked me up. They drive me to the dojo, and they said, okay, gear up. And I was like, huh? I was like, oh, now? And he's like, yeah, gear up. So I said, all right. So I put my gear on, and I'm standing there warming up, and these 2 young boys come in. And he says, okay, go with this young boy. And so I go with him, and I pretty much dominated him, just beat him up. I was about 20 minutes or so. So he puts in the other young boy, and he's like, okay, go with him. I said, oh, cool. So I go with him, and I'm feeling pretty cocky right now. So I get in, I start thumping him. I throw him around, boom, boom, boom. And he says, okay, good. Well, as I'm sitting there, these other 2 guys walk in. And these 2 guys that I see now are Masakatsu Funaki and Minoru Suzuki, the 2 guys that I saw on the tape fighting. And I was like, that's those dudes there. And I was like, what are they doing here? Well, come to find out, they were going to be there for me. So Sammy goes, hey, you still got more in you? And of course, me, I never turned down a fight. I was like, yeah, I'm good. So he throws in Suzuki.
12 hours on a plane, 2 sparring matches already.
But, I mean, I literally did handle these guys, and I think those guys weren't there to really shoot on me, even though I probably could have beat them because they were young boys, but I think they were there just to kind of warm me up.
Uh-huh.
Those 2 guys walked in to see whether or not I would go ahead and go with them after I was tired a little bit, because this was all a test. So I was like, yeah, let's go. Well, the first guy comes in, it's Minoru Suzuki. He's probably 180 pounds, maybe 5'9", so he's a smaller guy. I'm going about 220, right? And I'm benching 605. I'm a strong guy. I got wrestling background. I got boxing, a little bit of dirty boxing. And I was like, yeah, I'll squash this guy. So we get going, and I take him down. I slam him on top of him, and next thing I know, I wake up.
Whoa.
I'm like, did I win? It's like, he's standing above me going, hey, he's handing his hand out to me, and he's saying something in Japanese. I'm like, what happened? So he goes, Sammy goes, you want to go some more? And I was going, yeah, of course. I'm not thinking, what just happened to me? So I get down and I start wrestling again. And next thing I know, he's got me in his leg lock, and it hurts. But yet I'm fighting like a dog, just trying to get out. And Sammy's going, tap. You know how to tap? And I'm looking at him, what are you saying? Like, remember, nobody knows what tapping is. Nobody understands what that is. No one said, hey, we're playing uncle. They said, fight. So I was like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. And he says, man, if it hurts, especially in training, just tap the mat and he'll let go. So he tells me after about 5 minutes, this guy torquing on my leg, and I'm like trying to fight to get out, and I'm not showing any pain. It's hurting, right? And he's going, if it hurts, tap. I was like, what? So I tap. The guy beats me up, literally just thrashes me, a 180-pound guy, for 20, 25 minutes. So after he gets done, he's okay, good. And he says, you ready to go a little bit more? And of course, I says, absolutely. I'm not going to quit. I'm not giving up, man. So here comes Funaki. Now, Funaki's about 6'6'1", about 205 pounds. So he's much bigger. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this little guy just killed me. And I saw these two guys fighting and he won. So I said, bring it. So I went after him too. The same thing. I just got beat up, just tortured. And so after it was over, Sammy goes, okay, you good? And I said, no, we can go some more. Got somebody else. And I was beat up. But I felt like, man, I wanted to do more because I felt like I let myself down. I let everybody else down. And I just wanted to try to prove myself even more. But he said, no, it's good. And I said, are you sure, man? I could do more because I thought like I blew it. And he said, no, it's good. Well, they send me home and I get a call like a month later. And the whole time I'm thinking I blew it. Man, these guys don't like me. Well, he calls me back and said, how would you like to fight? And I was like, yes, absolutely. He says, why don't you come up to Japan for a little while and we'll train you and get you prepared for the fight. And so I flew up 6 weeks before the fight that we were supposed to have. And I remember training every single day. I spent my whole day in there. It was like a dojo. They fed me. Those guys slept there, but I slept somewhere else. But I ended up staying there from 6 in the morning till 6 at night. And I constantly trained every day with the young boys. When I had my fight, I won my first fight. Now, the whole thing on that was what Sammy was trying to find out which is, do you have the heart of a warrior? Do you have the ability to never give up and not quit? That's what they were looking for. And that's how I actually structured my dojo, because it didn't matter how much skill you had. It didn't matter how good you were or how athletic you were. What it mattered to them and to me was whether or not you had the mentality of never giving up and always fighting to be better. And that's literally where I got it from.
It's the fighter spirit, the warrior spirit.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
You've talked about that, Mike.
That's what it's all about. You know, some of these guys don't even look like much. You know, they look really skinny guys. They wear glasses. You know, they never curse. Then they get in the ring, they beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to do with it's something with the mind. It's something with the brain, because some people are almost like geeks. They never talk. They're introverts and they're great fighters.
Well, it was just like, you look at Suzuki when he came in. He was a small guy. He was 5'9", 180 pounds. He did not look like much. But boy, did I find out different.